Come on, come on, come on. Online. Here we go. View event. Let me just save this link and send it. What we'll have to do in the future is when we share it is just post this link wherever we're going to share it, unless we start. No, I think regardless we have to do that.
We have a special guest.
Who's in? Oh, hold on. I'm not looking. It's the baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Copy URL.
If you want to just.
Hey, little man. All righty, here we go.
Mm-hmm. No, you guys stay right here, bud.
We are. All right, we're live. We should be live. Let me make sure. Oh, whoops. Hey, man, he's a cutie. All right, we are officially live here. All right, welcome to the end around with AJ. I'm Ed.
What's going on, everybody? Here we go.
Here we go. First one. All right. Well, yeah, we're going to do some fantasy football. It's exciting. We have football back in action. The preseason games are
underway.
They're underway. And we're going to do, both predictions and strategies and stuff like that. So let's dive right into it.
Talk about,
what did we have here on the list?
So draft position.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the draft position and the kind of leagues we're in, right?
Yeah. So I think we're both doing a standard league, at least one standard league.
I have one 10-team standard league, and I'm in a 14-team league with you, PPR, and then a 12-team PPR that we're also both in. Last year, AJ took the title on the 14-team PPR, and his Bucks won the Super Bowl, so his witchcraft paid off.
It was a beautiful thing, baby boy. It was a beautiful thing.
It was a really well-done season. And
I think the fashion and how I won that championship was what's so cool about it.
It was a pretty good Super Bowl. Let's just say Javonte Adams came back and won it for him. Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback on the other side, and Devontae's points ended up beating Rodgers. And you were down by – what were you down by when that game started?
Dude, I was down by a lot. I can't even – so I won by 6. I was probably down by 30.
Damn. Yeah, I was watching that. I was keeping my eye on it.
And I went back and looked at it yesterday, and a bunch of my guys didn't show up. So, like Tyreek Hill, I made a mistake there because I knew there was a good chance he was going to play limited reps that game. I should have went Gallup. I knew in my gut I should have went Gallup. It almost cost me, but hey, it is what it is. A win is a win. Now we're in this season, and none of that shit matters.
That's true, but you're the reigning champ in that league, so kudos to you. And let's get into it. So, yeah, so then let's talk about league sizes. Yeah, so we talked about the league sizes. We were talking about this the other day, drafts 1 through 10 or 1 through 12. You don't like to be first?
I just don't like first in any type of league, but you did bring up a good point. Like with 10 league, it's a little less dicey because when you're picking first, you're putting all your chips on that player because you're not picking again until 24.
Oh yeah,
that's a tough spot to be in because if you don't nail that person, like whoever drafted Saquon Barkley, that
was me in Mark's league.
Struggled, yeah.
Well, no, but I got him second because the first guy drafted McCaffrey. So both of them really last year.
So yeah, just things like that. So I always like drafting towards the bottom. I mean, if I pick first, obviously I'm not going to complain about it, but drafting either 10, 11, or 12 is usually really good because you're still going to get quality. And then if you're doing snake, which most people are, you can do that back to back.
Yeah, back to back's good when you go 12
years.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day that you have to at number 12 you have to reach. Like on your next, when you're going 12, 13, or last pick of the first round, first pick of the second round, then you have that huge gap of players that goes, like you said, what is it, like almost, if it's a 12-team league, like 22 players go, right?
And if you're doing 14 league, you're even more at an odds of not getting someone good. So, yeah, you're right. At 13 and 12, you're reaching a bit, but you're also getting good value. So, like, let's say you go running back at 12, like a Chubb, because Chubb is possibly going to be there at 12.
Yeah, and PPR, he'll probably be there at 12.
Yeah. So then you have to think, do I want to go back-to-back at running back because the market is so thin, or do I want to pick a top-end receiver and get the line going on that?
Yeah, yeah.
You kind of have to think about that. And a lot of the times I think most people are going to go running back if like the player that's there. And I like the running backs class going into this year as opposed to last year. Last year, it was slim pickings because there was a lot of unknowns. There was a J.K. Dobbins who was unknown. There was a Jonathan Taylor who was an unknown. So you're really kind of taking a gamble on things. And that was my strategy last year. I was like, you know what? I know there's good receivers, so I'm going to go receivers.
Yeah, last year you went with receivers, and it ended up paying off. You had to get your RBs late. Last year, you're right. Last year I fell into the trap of drafting, like in my 10-team league, I drafted a bunch of the rookie receivers that I was excited about, and they did not pan out until later in the season, and that hurt me.
No, yeah, you're right. The only one that really panned out through a majority of the year, and even then he had a slow start, was
Jonathan Taylor.
Well, in terms of receivers. In terms of running backs, yeah.
I was talking about running backs, yeah. The running back rookie class. Yeah. But, yeah, like you were saying, and then you also, so you get to go second, third, fourth round, then you're really reaching for players that you really want when you're back-to-back or when you're first. You have to look quite a ways ahead of you so that you can pick a player that you really want, because you're probably not going to get him. You have to look really further down the line of the rankings.
Yeah, you have to look down the lines of the rankings, and then you also have to think about where is the quality and what can I get when I pick again. You kind of have to guess a lot of the times. You can get too hung up on most players. But then that's also where it comes into play. Sleeper picks that nobody's really thinking about that you probably are going to get because you see something that nobody else does. That happened with me last year with Deontay Johnson. A lot of people looked and I was able to get him in the fourth round.
That was a great pick. That was a great pick. That happened to me with James Robinson. But I have to admit, Deontay Johnson, I hadn't been taking a look at. I wasn't watching his tape or anything like that. So, you're right. I mean, and you get lucky, like Kamara year. Who's the Kamara year? Last year, James Robinson was kind of the Kamara, from a few years ago, where Kamara was on the bench, and then Peterson was there, and then they finally played him, and he blew it up. So,
yeah, it's tough, man. You have to just really throw everything out the window. That's something we were talking about. Also, is kind of feeding into that. Is you can't rely solely on mock drafts, and they do help. Kind of give you an idea of what you can do.
They help your reflexes out a bit. But you're right, because things happen in the mock draft that are not going to happen. Like in my league, quarterbacks, in my 10-team league, quarterbacks go fast. Really, in all our leagues, quarterbacks go fast.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't get that, but we can talk about that right now. So, you have to factor in the human element. A lot of the times, people are going to pick their favorite player from their favorite team. I don't know if that's an El Paso draft strategy thing, but I always see it. Some pick somebody from
totally. There's always one Cowboys fan, or my cousin's a Charger fan. His team looked like the Chargers last year. He had Keenan Allen. He had I think he had Herbert later. He had Eckler. I mean, it's funny. I always give him shit because he's his team ends up looking like the Chargers. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different strategies. I like going in the middle. I think most people like going in the middle because you can balance it out. You can kind of stretch it out a bit, and you're
Yeah,
you're not as pressured. You're not as pressured. It goes quicker. Is there a strategy? I've won a championship by going first before, and I have won a championship going last. I'm more sure about the one I won going first. I had Ray Rice that year as my first overall pick. I know a little name drop, but yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. But yeah, mock drafts do help me in terms of reflex. Like, okay, boom, this is how the pattern's going. Who's available in what round, and so.
And a lot of the times, that's you bring up patterns. That's a lot of the things you can notice too in drafts. Sometimes drafts take on certain patterns. So we were talking about this last time with Kelsey. Kelsey's gonna definitely be the first tight end off the board. That's obvious. He might go as high as 4, as low as 8 in PPR leagues. So with that in mind, do you start to see a trend in those other 2 top-tier tight ends? Because after Kittle and Waller, there's a steep decline in tight end. Yeah. And I have a feeling there's going to be some people who are panicking. So I feel like a lot of the times people are so worried about filling out their roster that they're not going best player available.
Yeah. I love going best player available. If I look and then 1 or 2 guys are there within the chunk of players that are left. But, there's a lot of kind of guys that I don't like or that I feel like are going to be duds. I'll take the best player. I don't care if I have another running back or if it's my 3rd running back or however it shakes out. You're right.
I'll go 3 receivers deep before I pick somebody on a reach in terms of certain positions. And that's what I mean.
Yes.
Like tight end,
not to fill it.
Once you hit those first 3 tight ends, everything else is pretty much a wash. So at that point, you're already thinking, oh, I didn't get those top 3. I can wait until later in the game and hopefully pick someone up. Because at that point, it doesn't even matter anymore because those tight ends after that don't mean shit to a certain extent. And the same thing with quarterback. You can wait on quarterbacks to a certain extent too. Like, because what else? I can guarantee you, once we see Lamar Jackson get picked, then it's going to be Mahomes, and there's going to be a mini run on quarterbacks. Are you the kind of person that stands pat and says, no, I can still get a quality quarterback. Let me feast off the mistakes they're making and get the best player available.
Yeah, I mean, this year definitely won't be Lamar. It'll be I think Josh Allen or Mahomes. Mahomes is all like, I've done a few mocks and Mahomes has gone first round or second round sometimes, or 3rd. Like this 5th, 6th.
That's insane to me.
I know, me too. I mean, me too.
Second round is insane. 3rd round, okay, that's a little bit more I can stomach.
Yeah. With that said, I've seen people pick Mahomes and make it far into the playoffs and even the championship, however their team shakes out. So I'm not saying that that's a wrong strategy, but I personally don't subscribe to going that early with a QB unless I really, I don't think I've done that since like Peyton Manning. That was my early days. Yeah.
It's really tough.
But yeah, it's fast. It all depends obviously on what you're into. But for me, best player, RBs, because like we were talking about the other day, there's a big gap of RBs. Once you get all that, I think it stops at, what did we say? JK around JK Carson, around the JK Carson area.
There's a drop off.
Yeah, I can't keep him in.
Yeah, because you have that middle tier, that running back 2 tier, that's still pretty good where they can potentially boom into a running back 1. Like Hilaire, he has a good chance of booming into a running back 1.
Carson, Hilaire's the Carson.
James Robinson, if he can get hot. I think people are underselling Robinson.
James?
And part of it is, I think part of it is Urban Meyer being an idiot, but I don't know.
I like Robinson too. I saw him. He looked pretty sharp. He's a good athlete, man. I saw him play that game the other day. The couple of snaps he got like a 10-yard run and something else. I dig it. So Robinson, I think you can get value from where he's going right now. Okay, with that, let's get into the players now that we're kind of shifting over. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the players to target, where you're targeting them. If you're sold, something you said, I liked it, sold or sell. Sold or sell. So yeah, by the way, I mean, it's important to state that this is kind of our draft episode. It's our first episode. Obviously, as time moves on, we're going to smooth out the structure, but this is kind of our draft pre-season episode. Now, players to target. This is where I get all your little secrets.
So, yeah, that's so people that you should definitely target. I think that I don't think is necessarily news to anyone per se, but I still think you need to target somebody like a Gibson. I think Gibson is definitely someone you need to target, the running back from Washington. He could have a potentially big year. He can catch it out of the backfield, and he's quick. He reminds me very much of a Warwick Dunn type. He can get you numbers, man. He's a good pick. He's
I like him.
Falling in between first and second round grade for a lot of people. I think if you get him in the second round and you get another running back if you could, let me put it this way, you get a Chubb and you get a Gibson, I think you're set at running back. That is nice.
I've been doing that. So here we go. This is where we start to. I've been doing the Chubb Gibson pairing because you're right. In a 10-team league, especially Gibson, you're able to get in the second round, even the second, third pick of the next round, second round. And I've been doing that. Say you get a Taylor, say you get a Chubb, say you get maybe you get a Zeke, you can get Gibson in the next round. And I agree. I think he's an RB2 who has total RB1 potential. And even in PPR in this preseason game, they were sending him out to the wing a lot. Throwing it to him behind the line. I think he can go behind the line, and I think he can also do some little. He can do a lot.
He can do a lot, and the way they're utilizing running backs nowadays, he's got a lot of potential to do really well in that. Especially now with McLaurin having a definitive number 2 and 3 receiver to help him out. That's going to leave him open more. And
their offense is going to be badass. I'm looking forward to watching that. I don't want to
go that far because it all hinges
on the quarterback. No, I agree. I mean, that's the problem. I wish they would have maybe invested a little more quarterback maybe next year, but maybe they get Rodgers. We'll see. You know who he reminds me of? Gibson actually reminds me a lot more of a younger, more fit Jordan Howard.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think his body type fits that because he's not necessarily like a shifty speed demon or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean let's not pretend like Warwick Dunn was super speedy. He was more like, shake and bake kind of deal. But I get where you're coming from. So definitely someone I target. Gibson.
Yeah, I like Gibson. I've been taking him a lot lately. To be honest, I've been taking him lately in mocks, but I slightly faded him. I don't know why. Man, it's really tough because at that point, when you're going, say Chubb, say Taylor, say Elliott, whoever you're going for, in the second round, if you're going middle, you're going to also have access to DK, AJ Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, maybe even probably not Tyreek Hill. He's going to go either first or early second. But you're getting some of those. I think you're getting some of those receivers that are looking like WR1s. Jefferson, I'll throw him in there as well. So, what do you think about that?
In terms of WR1 receivers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I guess to finish my thought is just it's tough for me to go Gibson or WR.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Your first
WR1.
I think this is the year where if you can get a running back early and you can get another running back just as good or right there early, you got to do it because the receiver is so deep. So what I've been doing in mock drafts is I've been going running back if the chance is right, and then picking a receiver in the third or fourth round. So because you can still get really good value in the third and fourth. Evans is there in the third. Godwin is there in the third. Thielen is still there in the third in a lot of these mocks. But someone to keep an eye on that I think you could possibly get as a flex is someone like a Van Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
I think this will be a nice little coming out. He didn't really do much last year because he didn't really need to and they didn't really need him. But there's a spot open now that they lost Reynolds. So I do think Van Jefferson could have a really nice year as a flex. So if he's there, which he should be really deep, he's someone to keep an eye on. He's more of potential keeping an eye on as opposed to like a definitive lock like a Gibson. But
I see. You're right. I mean, receiver just like last year is pretty damn deep. And a lot of potential WR1s. Judy, I think, is one. Although I don't know, I feel like Judy can be hit and miss because he hopefully he's cleaned up his hands a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, he's just so explosive, and his route running is so good.
Supreme, like his route running is like elite. So yeah, I think Judy's someone who you could probably get in the 6th round. And
yeah, and we're not even talking about if this is PPR or not, because are you going back? Excuse me, in a PPR league, are you still wanting to do that? That's.
Who are some targets for you? Who are some player targets for you?
Well, you mentioned Gibson. I have Gibson up there. Let me take a look at some players here. We talked about Chubb before. I love Chubb. He's just one of my favorite players in the league. I like Chubb, and who else have I been? I was talking to you about Najee the other day. I'm not 100% sold on Najee Harris yet.
Yeah, I get that. It's just tough because we talked about this and we kind of went back and forth on this. It's a lot of it has to do with Pittsburgh and the way they run their offense.
Yes,
a lot of it is going to still come out of Big Ben. Their line is a huge factor.
You got it. We froze up a little bit with AJ there. Give him a second to come back. We need to play a pina colada or something during this time. All right, 1 second. We will be back. Yo, you there, brother? We are having connection issues. Hang with us. This is a good time to mention our sponsors, which are Pura Vida Tequila. Just playing. They're not. They are not. No sponsors yet.
There we go.
Yo, all right. We lost
Sorry
you there
about
for a second.
Yeah, I know. My Wi-Fi's been kind of weird the last couple of weeks. So
All right. All good. Where we were at here. So yeah, you were talking about Van Jefferson. We were talking about some of these
some players.
middle round players.
Yeah, who are you targeting? We were talking about Najee Harris for a bit, but who's someone you're really keeping an eye on? I know you want to give all your secrets away.
I'm keeping an eye on AJ Green.
Nah, bro. You'll never draft that guy again.
I'll never draft him again. That is true. Who's someone that I am truly keeping an eye on right now? Oh, man. I would like to say Scary Terry again, although I had him last year. CeeDee Lamb and Scary Terry are two players that I've kept a pretty solid eye on lately.
You like CeeDee Lamb over Cooper?
Yes. I would go CeeDee Lamb this year over Amari Cooper, which is where he is going in draft. So it's not like I'm
too crazy.
It's not like I'm this is the cat's out of the bag. I think that they're going to utilize him in various ways. They're going to put him in the slot. They're going to put him out wide, in the X position. So I think he can do a lot of damage this year. And I think he'll have more goal line opportunities this year. We saw what he did against the Vikings, that crazy, anti-gravity catch he had.
That was a nice catch.
That was a great, and he has a great name, CeeDee Lamb, destined to be a really good player. So
that's your theme. Names matter.
Names matter for me. And CeeDee Lamb fits the bill.
All right, I got one for you. At quarterback, who are you targeting? Because I know you're not going to go one of those early quarterbacks.
There's a chance I don't. If it's like the fourth round, which means it's my fourth player, and Allen is still there, I'll try to get Allen back. I had him last year in your league. Obviously, he was not expensive because people were not expecting for him to have the year he did. I was expecting him to have the year he did. Maybe not. Maybe not even.
In theory, he should be.
What's that?
In theory, he should be there, but I feel like he won't. In theory, he should be there, but I feel like he won't be there.
I don't think so. I mean, I think, to be honest, I would take Allen over Mahomes this year, just because Allen has.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I
totally agree with that. Yep.
So
he's gonna.
No, but if we're not talking about some of those top guys, I like Justin Herbert. I like Russell Wilson. If I can get one of those guys on my team, I'd be happy. And then if we're going further down the line than that, it gets a little shaky for me. I think someone that is being undervalued right now is Ryan Tannehill. Especially because they're going to have a really loaded offense. Right now he's going after Tom Brady. He's going after all the guys I just named.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray would also be nice. I think the way it's looking right now is Mahomes, Allen, and Murray are going as the top three quarterbacks. And then after that, Dak. I'm a little hesitant on Dak this year. He's been like a fantasy superstar, a stud, really since he came into the league. But I'm probably staying away from Dak this year.
Interesting. So I'm a little worried about someone like, I'll get back to that. Sorry. But going to your Tannehill point, I don't trust Tannehill because of the offense he's in where Harry is the focal point. If Henry wasn't the focal point, then maybe I give some more love to Tannehill. Plus, is Tannehill more of a game manager or is he that guy? I guess we still need to find that out. So for me, where he's probably getting drafted probably makes a lot of sense. Potential is there, but who knows what's going to happen.
No, yeah, you're right. And with Tannehill, he's someone like where maybe it depends on the game. Maybe he's not game proof like some of these other guys.
He's not. Well, even in those shootout games, even those games where it's high scoring, it's usually Henry taking over in most cases because they can't stop him. He's unstoppable in a lot of respects. And I'll talk more about Henry right now instead of on him. But Kyler Murray is a guy that I am a little weary about because he started to trend somewhat downward last year towards the end of the year. I think a lot of offenses started figuring out how to play him a bit, which kind of scares me. He is a smaller guy, so he can't really see over bigger defenders. He's got a lot of weapons in Arizona. I think too many weapons to a certain extent, which could hinder Hopkins to an extent. But that's another point. But Murray's scary because he has a huge ceiling, but he also has a pretty low floor. So he kind of scares me. I'm staying away from Murray this year. I took him last year, but I feel like this is the year I don't want to go with him. I just have a gut feeling he's not going to do as well this year.
Yeah, this is his third year, right? This is his third year.
So
Well, who else? Who are you looking at? What about Aaron Rodgers? I know how you love him. So
yeah, I mean, he's a diva. He likes the attention, but he's still a great quarterback. I'm with you, man. I'm looking at Herbert, man. I really like him in LA. He is gonna be a top 3 quarterback this year, I think. In terms of fantasy points, I don't know about in terms of anything else, but in terms of fantasy, I think he's gonna be a top 3 quarterback, right there with Allen's and Mahomes. So he's someone I'm really looking at. For sure, I like what they're gonna do there. And then someone else to look at. I don't necessarily think I'm targeting him per se, but Trey Lance could be someone to keep an eye on because of the offense he plays in, because of who his coach is, and the way they would probably utilize him. I think he's someone you should definitely keep an eye on because he could have some potential to do.
I 100% agree with you. I think Lance and Fields, maybe Lance more than Fields for me, but
because of the offense more than anything.
Yeah,
if
Lance for
Fields
me.
in another offense, he could explode too. He's still nice. Don't get me wrong.
No, they're both really nice, but I like Lance. He comes from I think he's the Mahomes and he's like the Mahomes school, that generation of quarterback, very agile and athletic. He's going to be a dual threat. So, I like Lance a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else you're targeting specifically? Maybe a running back, a tight end, a defense?
I do like Kyle Pitts. If he's not too rich and he falls to a certain point, I might get Kyle Pitts in a couple of leagues. I'd like to have him on at least one team.
He's gonna go early just on name base alone.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna go over someone like a Hodgkinson, over a Cole Kmet, because of his potential and because of the way he's been hyped up. Not to say that he won't do things. I do think he will, but I still rather have a TJ over him.
And
and Cole Kmet, dude, keep an eye on that guy.
Yeah, Cole Kmet, I think, can have a pretty good year. He's getting a lot of buzz out of camp.
I have a theory based on that.
Well, let's see. Lay it down.
Well, a lot of the times you have a rookie. It's not like a newfound theory, but a lot of times when you have a rookie quarterback, their favorite and their best friend is either the check down or that outlet, which is the tight end. And in PPR, where yards don't matter but receptions are keen, Cole Kmet could have a really nice looking year just based on that alone. And if he has the yards, which he can still have, and the touchdowns, even more so. But I think just on that sole fact that more than likely Fields is going to be starting by week 3, we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the Cole Kmet connection. That
nice. That would be nice. I think I think Jimmy Graham is still there, but he's an old vet now.
He's a dinosaur, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
He's old as us, but he's a dinosaur in football years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm also looking at someone like Javonte Williams, the Broncos rookie. He's my favorite running back rookie this year.
One.
Yeah.
He's a potential back. So he's not a Cam Akers, but he's a Cam Akers in terms of fantasy.
Yes.
I took a chance on Cam Akers really deep in the draft, and he almost panned out, but he got hurt.
Yeah, I loved Cam Akers last year.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, so with that same kind of idea in mind, who is a player or players that you're completely sold on? Whether they're top players, middle round players, potential players, who are you sold on?
I'm sold on Nick Chubb.
All right, I'm going to challenge you a little bit. You love the Chubster, so we're going to get away from Chubb. Who else are you sold on at running back?
Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. And that's funny because last year you were not a Taylor fan one bit.
No, I wasn't a Taylor fan. I don't know if I'm full on. I fully admit it. He coming out, there was something about him I just didn't like.
Was it his face?
No. No, I just I don't know. I didn't like him, but after the year he had last year, and he's a hell of an athlete. Fast. He had his last few games. He was amazing. So I think that he's a legit stud, and that if you can get him in the first round, even at a late, yeah, you take him. I think he can end up in the top 3. If things pan out for him. So
yeah, I mean, he should get the volume, especially not there. I mean, I know they say Wentz is going to start week 1, but I mean, Wentz isn't a sure thing anyways. He's injury prone. He's mentally fragile. If you can feed Taylor the ball to give Wentz the confidence and to build them up a bit, then he's a home run for sure. But I do agree with you. I do like Taylor. I liked him last year too, so I'm all about that Taylor. Yeah, I like that one.
Give me yours. Who do you give me someone that you're really sold on this year?
Honestly, man, I'm sold on a player that a lot of people were sold on last year and didn't really pan out the way they had hoped. I'm actually sold on Hilaire, man. I think he's gonna have a nice season because he is the running back. He is that running back in Kansas City, and Andy Reid is very creative. Look what he did with Brian Westbrook in Philly. So he knows how to utilize running backs that are of his caliber. So I do think he's going to get a lot of screen passes. He's still going to get the ball on the ground. The only real worry with him is can he punch it in the end zone? But I think Andy Reid is going to learn from last year and really utilize him the way he needs to be. So I'm sold on him. And if you get him in the 3rd round, the 2nd round, it's an absolute steal.
I think mid to late 2nd round, even if you get him in the 3rd round, yeah, take him. I agree with you on Hilaire. I like him a lot. That game against the Bills we were talking about, man.
That's what it should have been all year, but it wasn't because
I know. Go back and look at that tape, and he's the man. He has great moves, fast. I think all he's lacking is the goal line opportunities. If he can punch it through in the red zone.
I think he'll have better vision this year. I think the game will be a little slower for him. And you have to picture this with the Chiefs. They're a pass-first offense, but I think they're going to mix it up a bit more. I mean, that's why they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, because they had
Damien.
They had a running attack, and it worked, and it kept teams off balance. And this year, I think they got away from it a little bit. I mean, Mahomes was on another tear last year, so I understand, but I do like him. I'm really sold on him. Give me someone else, maybe at receiver or quarterback that you're sold on.
Let me see if I think I still had a thought on Hilaire. No, if I did, it's gone. But yeah, I like Clyde Edwards-Hilaire also. If you're taking a top-notch receiver in the 1st round, you're getting a Javonte or a Tyreek. Then you look at Hilaire as your RB1, especially in PPR. I agree. Yeah, it's a good pick. If he's still there, I think he can pay dividends. I'm with you. Someone that I'm looking at in the receiving column, I like AJ Brown a lot. We're
split on that one.
Did you say we're split?
Yeah, we're in total disagreement on that one. Why are you sold on him?
Oh man, I think he's just a hell of an athlete. I think he's like another Julio. He's fast. He's huge. And he is resilient. That was that touchdown he had last year against
Baltimore.
Remember. Was it Baltimore where he fought for that goal line? And I think he's going to be an end zone threat, and again always a deep ball threat, like against the Raiders. Unfortunately, he had that long touchdown. And especially with Julio playing, I think Julio is not going to play every single game. Unfortunately, that's just where he's at in his career. But when he does play, he's going to take some heat off of A.J. Brown. So, yeah, give me all the A.J. Brown stock.
All right. Well, I'm not sold on him. And it's not because he's not an athlete or he's not capable. 2 reasons, volume and Tannehill. A lot of the time, because I had A.J. Brown in a couple of my leagues last year, the problem with him is volume. If he doesn't get that home run ball, his yards can be somewhat pedestrian. He can kind of disappear. But like you said, he has that home run ability, so there's a good chance that he can take it to the house and get you some points. But the problem is it's not consistent enough. And Tannehill, there's nothing. I liked Ryan Tannehill. I'm glad he got away from Adam Gase and actually got to do a lot of better things what he's doing now.
We will never bring up Adam Gase on this show again.
Oh, we will to trash him. We will to trash him. But Tannehill, I need to see more of him as a passer and not a game manager. He's very much a game manager. There's nothing wrong with that, but I need to see him target his receivers more often, more consistently. So I'm not sold on A.J. Brown.
All right. No, that's fair. That's the split there. I think A.J. Brown takes a step forward this year. He was playing kind of hurt actually last year too. So that even more so gives me the confidence to draft him. Do you have the same feeling about someone like, well, his quarterback? You know how much I love Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, you're all on that McLaurin.
He's one of my favorites.
Look at how good he's been despite his quarterback situation.
Say again? Look
at how good he's been despite his quarterback situation since he's been in the league.
I think he's one of the best receivers in the damn game, man.
And people still don't really talk about him too much.
No, he's not a sleeper, but he's quiet.
He's a good pick.
Terry McLaurin. It's a good name.
He doesn't have an exciting name, a household name, so he will slip just based on that. You're like, oh, Terry McLaurin, he's boring.
Terry McLaurin's a beast. I'm taking Terry McLaurin in the 3rd or 4th round if he comes to me as my WR2, because I think he has WR1 upside, which we saw last year with the roulette that we saw of the quarterbacks in Washington. So, do I love Fitzpatrick? Not really. I think he's a little bit of a gunslinger who tends to turn it over.
Well, there's a reason he's been on so many teams in his career.
Exactly. So, but will he be an upgrade? I don't know. They're still talking about Heineke starting or getting playing time in Washington. So they still haven't solved, obviously, their quarterback problem. They're doing a transition period right now. Excuse me. But, man, I hope Terry McLaurin gets a great quarterback at some point. If you imagine someone like Rodgers throwing to him, good grief. But I still like McLaurin as like a WR2 with a high upside.
Okay.
We talked about this earlier. We're bouncing around a little bit. Those are a few players to target. We were talking about college tape. I like to watch highlights a lot. Whenever I have a chance, I'll watch highlights. You said you're more sold on was it preseason or camp? I believe.
I pay more attention to training camp.
Okay. I agree with you. I think I like them both, but I do. Tape to me, especially college tape, does not lie. I think that, man, you could tell who pops.
Yes and no, because you're also looking at level of competition as well. Whereas in the NFL, you're playing against people.
They're all the same. They're on another
pros, and they're already used to the speed of the game. So if you're a rookie or you're a younger player and you can do pretty well against your own team, doesn't mean necessarily going to be a success, but you can more or less get an indicator of somebody who's ready for that kind of.
No, 100%, especially running backs. I think running backs more than anyone, you can see in college that they're going to be pretty damn good. I remember watching, Kamara. We talk about even going as far back as like Adrian Peterson at Oklahoma.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing with running back too. It's so oversaturated that there's a lot of good running backs, so that position isn't really something that is the hardest to transition in the NFL game. And if you can't transition, then you probably weren't going to do it anyways, like a Trent Richardson.
You're right. Receivers a little tougher, I'll admit. I think I do mainly speak
there's a lot of the different factors.
I mainly speak to running back. I remember Sony Michel and Nick Chubb both looked really good coming out of Georgia, and it was Chubb who ended up being the better runner, the pure runner. Michel had like spurts here and there.
He did it right here and there, but he was never like the guy.
No, but college tape gets me excited. I do watch it, so I study that for up and coming players.
Fair enough.
Sold or sell? Did you want to jump into sold or sell?
We already did jump into sold or sell.
Oh yeah, that was our I guess
we did a couple of solds, some players that you're sold on, and a player that I'm
Well,
sold on.
give me some sells. We didn't do sells. Who are you not sold on?
No, we haven't done sell. This one's gonna be a little controversial, I guess. I'm not really sold on Derrick Henry as a top running back this year.
That's just a gut feeling, huh?
That's more of probably overthinking the situation, but I'm just not, because he is a workhorse running back. He is the focal point of that team. And at some point, he is going to break down. And this could be the year that he breaks down. There's a lot of factors to think about. So the NFL itself, they played a lot of games that were not on Sunday last year. Everything was out of whack, a lot of chaos, whatever. Coming back this year, they are playing one more game. On top of that, Tennessee has played in the playoffs the last 2 years. Derrick Henry is a focal point of those teams in the playoffs. So if you think it's just about all those things and all those factors, those extra games, they do add up, especially at the running back position where players get a lot of wear and tear. And Derrick Henry, yes, he does dish a lot of it, but he does take a lot of punishment too. So I'm not saying he's going to have a terrible year, but I don't think he's justified being drafted higher than maybe 10 or 11 this year.
That is a pretty bold statement, because I have him going possibly 1 overall.
He's definitely not number 1.
I think I have him going at arguably number 1 overall because of the things I stated earlier. Adding Julio Jones, I think they have one of the best offensive lines in the game, and probably their line's better than their line was last year. So that added in with the factor. I think Anthony Fursker also takes a little bit of a step up this year. I think Henry, and then I think Henry, that they still utilize him in the passing game. He's really, after he, say he goes down, who is it?
That's a lot of wear and tear, man.
Yeah. No, well, it is the wear and tear argument, I guess, which, could apply to anybody. But
yeah, it can. But that's why I'm not sold on him, because I am factoring that into why I'm not sold on him. It has context. It has meaning.
No, I think with Henry, here's my thing. This goes back to the drafting strategy. Say you get someone like Henry, McCaffrey, Kamara, who are supposed to be, let's say injuries just didn't exist in the
right.
That's when I would draft a Henry. I wouldn't draft a running back for a while. I'd stock up on receivers. I would go,
right.
That's when you're able to.
I get that. That's understandable. But injuries are part of the game.
Yeah, no, they are part of the game. Yeah. So take that, unfortunately there are injuries. But that still goes to what I'm saying is that if you get Henry, Barkley, Kamara, I think because those guys are supposed to get you a chunk of points. So
no, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that. And that's kind of where I'm insane and loony, because on the opposite side of the spectrum, I am sold on Barkley, who is coming off of a major injury.
Let's talk Barkley.
Go figure, right? So we've been going back and forth with this for a long time. I've said this, and I have no hesitation, if Barkley is there, when I pick, whenever that is, I'm going to take him. And I do feel like in some of my leagues, people are going to pass him up because he does have that injury bug. But I think he is totally worth the risk. I think he's more worth the risk than Henry. He's just such a pure athlete. He has more breakaway ability than Henry, just based on talent alone. Henry, yes, he's talented, but a lot of it has to do with his physique.
No, I am with you. In fact, last year I had Barkley in our league with Mark, and there are 12-team PPR. I drafted him 2nd overall. He got injured. Barkley is the one player. Usually when players get injured on me, Mixon also, I picked him after Barkley last year, got injured. I probably won't pick Mixon ever again in my life.
No more Bengals.
Barkley is the one player that I would pick after he got injured on me. That's how much I do believe in his athleticism. Like you said, I think he's the best. He has the best breakaway speed in the game up there.
He's the best pro runner.
I would say there's only a few guys that can hit home runs from anywhere on the field. I would put up there Barkley, Henry, Nick Chubb, Kamara, not necessarily in that order. But I think Barkley has the best finishing speed of any of the running backs in the NFL. I was also talking to my cousin. I was also talking to my cousin who he's a physical.
He's so good.
He works he's a doctor, a physical therapist, and he was saying that after you have surgery on your knee, that it's supposed to heal even better with the technology they have nowadays, the ACL, MCL, and that gave me a little more confidence in Barkley. I just think the NFL needs Barkley, and man, it would kill me if he gets injured again. And I think we've talked about this before, that if he gets injured again this year, that might be a wrap. So
the Giants.
What's that?
Daniel Jones needs Barkley. Daniel Jones needs Barkley.
No, he does. Daniel Jones needs him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, man. I had to move.
That's all right.
My Wi-Fi is shit, dude. All right, so who's someone you're not sold on? Who are you selling?
Someone I'm selling. Let me take a look at my list here. I want to make sure I get a good one in here, because there are players. There's always players that you are. The beauty of fantasy, one of the beauties is that there are players that you don't want. 19 days till the draft, by the way. I'm excited about that. Players that I'm skipping. You know who I'm kind of skipping? I haven't taken him. Oh, man. There's a couple of these top. I love this guy because he won me a Super Bowl. Alvin Kamara a little bit. And Dalvin Cook.
Interesting.
Look, Kamara falls to me at 5 or 6. It is going to be hard not to take him, because I think no matter what, he's going to get his.
Yeah, he's quarterback proof.
He is quarterback proof. And he is also not very injury prone. I think he's missed a game, maybe 2 in his career. No, I think I would probably skip on Cook more than Kamara. So to answer your question, Aaron Jones. I'll say Aaron Jones is someone that I kind of skip over.
I agree with that. He's going to have regression on those touchdowns. It can't stay like that forever. He's going to have regression at some point on those touchdowns. And this could be the year. It was supposed to be last year, and he did have a regression, but he did well enough where it didn't hurt him. I do think this year that regression is going to hurt him. So I agree with you on that one for sure.
No, I like it. Oh, speaking of, they updated they're starting to update the player profile pics. You know, that's when I always get excited. If you could see here, Aaron Jones with his little tied back hair. They're updating them now. So we're getting closer. I always get excited because it gets closer to Zeke still has his little, whatever that is, his Mickey Mouse ears.
Pom-pom.
Zeke Elliott. Give me some Zeke Elliott. He looks good, man. What do you think?
I like Zeke. Zeke's a nice player.
He's nice.
He's got Dak back. That offensive line isn't as good as it has been in the past, but I think he's going to make up for it.
More receiving weapons.
Hey, honestly, game 1 against Tampa is going to be a really big indicator.
Ooh, that's a test. One of the best defenses in the league. So that will be a test, but yeah, give me Zeke if he's, again, someone that's falling to like 5 or 6.
Yeah, Zeke and Henry are going to be there at 4 and 5. Who are you picking is the real question. Because
Henry, I don't think he's going to be there at 4.
I think he is. I think the top 3 are Christian McCaffrey,
Cook,
and Kamara.
And I think Henry is going to be going before Kamara in a lot of leagues.
I don't think so. Not in PPR, because Kamara is a definitive guy who does catch the ball out of the backfield. Henry is a guy who sometimes catches it out of the backfield.
No, I think, Kamara has more receptions than a lot of the receivers have. So I think you're right. I've seen Kamara slip a little bit.
We'll see.
Are you taking Cook, Kamara? Are you taking these guys if you're around that?
Yeah, if I'm top 3, I'm probably taking
one of those studs.
one of those studs, but I think I'm going to go Kamara. I've had this fascination with picking Kamara, and I've never had the chance to draft him.
He has a great name. He plays like he Alvin Kamara. He's smooth.
And I hate the Saints. Let's not get that twisted, man. But I like.
Yeah.
The only thing that scares me about Kamara is if Taysom Hill cuts into his carries, which he kind of did last year. Remember when Hill started? He cut into Kamara's a bit, and I had said that. I said, watch out because
there was a dip. There was a dip.
Cut into it, and it did happen. And it probably hurt a lot of teams. But Kamara's so good.
He's good. He's hard to bring down. He's his center of gravity.
And he plays on turf for most of his games.
Say again?
He plays on turf. Most of his games are on turf.
Plays on turf. He's hard to bring down. I mean, he's got it all, man. He's like the ultimate weapon. I was just talking to my cousin about this. He's like the ultimate weapon in the league. So, yeah. So what up? How about McCaffrey? Are you?
I don't know about McCaffrey, man. I know Cook has been injured more often in his career than McCaffrey, but the usage that McCaffrey gets, and because he's so small. Like let's be honest, like Kamara gets a lot of usage too, but he's a lot bigger than McCaffrey. McCaffrey takes some punishing hits. He does everything in that offense. Maybe it'll change this year, but I don't know.
You're not.
It'd be tough if I'm picking second and McCaffrey is there and Kamara. I think I'd still go Kamara.
Fair enough.
Call me insane, but. That's why
that means that at number 1 overall, you're strongly considering Kamara.
Cook. No, if it's number 1 overall, I think Cook. If Cook is there, obviously, if you're number
Cook over Kamara,
is there, yeah.
Wow,
I like that.
Cook's injury history worries me more than McCaffrey's.
I know, I get that. I totally get that. But man, I'd love Cook.
Cook is also a really good player.
I have him in my dynasty league.
Yeah, no. These are all great players. I mean, if you're in a 10-team league
at that point.
Yeah, if you're in a 10-team league, you're going to get an RB. Well, let's see. Cook, McCaffrey, Henry, Kamara, Barkley, Chubb, Jones, Elliott, Taylor, Eckler. That's someone you and I think,
I don't like Eckler. Him. He's a Larry Johnson. In the sense that he's had 2 good years, and now everyone is hyping him up. But the come up, he's not as talented as these guys.
No, the thing is, they're getting
Herbert likes to throw it downfield. He's not Phillip Rivers. He's gonna.
Well, here's the thing, though. The Chargers picked up. His name's escaping me right now. But he was Kamara's coach. Joe Lombardi, is it Lombardi? Yes. They got Joe Lombardi from the Saints, and he pretty much made Kamara.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Well, okay, he didn't make him.
Kamara was nice coming out of Tennessee. Like
Eckler, no, I agree, and he looked just as good. But Eckler was. I listened to this podcast the other day, and Eckler was on it, and he was talking about Joe Lombardi, and he himself was saying that he wants to be Kamara. He's like, I'm going to be the Kamara of this offense. He's not. I don't think.
No. Sorry.
So okay, I'm playing devil's advocate, but no, I wouldn't.
I get you.
I'm not. So
I don't buy into it because of who the quarterback is.
Herbert. Yeah.
He's gonna throw the ball. Not that necessarily that Keenan Allen had fallen off, but he kind of reminded us who Keenan Allen was last year.
I was just gonna get into Keenan Allen. I think he's a sneaky WR1.
He's a steal.
Yes. He's a steal if you can get him.
Telling you, man, there's a lot of good receivers that are going under the wayside that if you get them in the 3rd, 4th round and you get your running backs early, you're going to be set.
I agree with you.
That's my strategy. I'll be honest. That's my strategy for this year. Outside of my keeper league where I already have Davante Adams or Hill, maybe I'll go Hill. I don't know yet. Outside of those two, outside of that, I think my strategy is running back, receiver, because the way the receivers are falling this year.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of receiving talent.
Who's your super sleeper?
My super sleepers of all the sleepers this year, man.
Who do you have as a super sleeper?
Deep. So that's like a deep pick, right?
It could be not to sound nasty, but it could be as deep as you want it to be.
God damn it. This is a family show, brother.
No,
All right, let's see here. I want to take a look at some of these. I know I want to guess who yours is because you turned me on to this one a few weeks ago. I'll get to that one right now, though. I'm kind of taking a look here. I want to.
You're probably gonna have to remind me who I said, but go for it.
Well, let's bring him up because I could see him being a deep sleeper. Antonio Brown.
That is my deep sleeper.
Yep.
Totally is my deep sleeper because of what I've been hearing about him and Brady's connection throughout camp. Am I going to draft him right away? Nope. But if he's there in the 7th,
he's going to be there.
I'm drafting him. So if you draft him, I'll know why you drafted him. But he's a sneaky pick who can turn into a W1 by the end of the year.
Damn, a W1. See, I don't know about all that. Trust me, AB is one of my favorite all-time.
Yeah, I'm not saying he is. Well, let me rephrase that. Who could turn into W1A in Tampa Bay? Because Mike Evans is still the guy. Chris Godwin's it's tough, but I do think
they have too many weapons from in Bucks world.
We'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting. But I feel a super sleeper where he can be at the very least a really nice flex.
All right, my super sleeper. I have two of them. So take out your notepad. Two running backs that I think you want to target later on in the draft. Damien Harris from the Patriots.
Interesting.
And A.J. Dillon from the Packers.
I like the Dillon one.
Yeah.
Because we actually talked about this.
We talked about Dillon.
We talked about ridiculous.
He looks good. I was watching his tape from last year, man. He is a rumbler.
Look at him in that Tennessee game.
Yeah. No, the touchdown, was it him? Did he? No. Sorry. Disregard. I was thinking about Fournette's touchdown. What was it in the championship game? He had a really nice touchdown, but that's besides the point. In the Tennessee game, A.J. Dillon he looks poised to be a beast. If Jones gets hurt at some point, you might have an RB1 on your hands.
He's definitely gonna feed into Jones's touchdowns at the goal line. It's inevitable. You drafted him as your second round pick. You need to utilize him.
Yeah.
Like Green Bay, in order to make themselves not look foolish, which they are, they're gonna have to utilize what they drafted.
Yeah. Those are two super deep sleepers. Damien Harris. What do you think about Harris with the Patriots?
I don't think any. This is my goal, not my goal, but this is my rule for myself in any draft until Belichick is no longer the coach in New England. I am never drafting a New England player.
No, that's fair. I don't.
Gronk. When Gronk was in his prime, he was the only player I drafted from New England because he was the number one guy, like no matter what. But there's no one in New England, especially now with their quarterback situation kind of weird, that I would draft. I would not draft any of those guys. I
think Harris is the only guy I would draft on that team, and maybe Jacoby Myers in PPR.
Just the way that Belichick abuses his running back.
They have a lot of running back depth. And
Sony
Michel. What's that?
They still have Sony Michel.
And he did look explosive in the one or two runs that I saw him last week. I think he's been working hard still. So, yeah, I feel you on that. I like Harris though as like an RB3 with our RB2 upside. For me, again, that's why he's a deep sleeper and maybe a sneaky pick for someone who needs RBs, or if you want to stack RBs on your bench, he might be one to hold on to. Yeah. But I'm with you. Speaking of the Patriots, I think I texted you the other day. I am not the Henry and Jonnu picks. That doesn't do anything for me. Doo-doo.
Doo-doo from an NFL standpoint and doo-doo from a fantasy standpoint. I think.
Right? Oh, gosh. Henry's injury prone. So is kind of Jonnu to a certain degree. I like him a lot.
Super injury prone. Henry can't stay healthy to save his life, unfortunately.
They're gonna I think come to regret those moves, but whatevs. How about let's get into, now that we've had a good run at a lot of players, if you think of any other ones, just chime right in. Bounce back candidates and slump candidates this year.
All right, my favorite.
Okay. What do you got? Okay, give me your bounce back candidate this year that was kind of stinky last year.
Stinky. So, kind of cheating here. He wasn't so stinky necessarily, but I think my bounce back candidate for this year is somebody that Mark drafted as his first round pick last year.
Godwin.
Chris Godwin. I think he's going to bounce back.
I can agree with you there, and I think that you can get him at a pretty good price.
You can get him in the 4th round, and you'll be set. I think he's going to bounce back this year. There's nothing that tells me otherwise that Chris Godwin will not bounce back.
All right. So okay, yeah, we got AB and Chris Godwin so far as 2 big picks from you. Yeah. Surprise.
What can I say? Oh, I'll give you one.
Okay, who?
I think Zeke. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, we talked about it. Zeke. Yeah, I love me some Zeke. All right, I'll give you a bounce back candidate. This is kind of crazy. I just watched him the other day.
Oh, I have one, but you're gonna love this one. Go first.
All right, you're gonna love this one. Oh man, people are gonna trash me for this. If he can play the way he played the other day, and I don't know where he's gonna pull this out of his ass, but I believe in him. Comeback player of the year, Drew Lock.
Fuck out of here. He didn't even make it. How is he going to be a comeback player of the year if he never even made it to the first? Get out of here, man.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. But he'll be a most improved player. How about that?
All right, I'll go with that, but I don't think that's happening. But cool. I'm sorry. Don't see it.
I know. I like him. I kind of like him, man. I hope he does well. He doesn't.
You like him because he's saying NWA while playing
on the sidelines. Is that what he was singing? Yeah, when he was freestyling.
Something I forgot.
That's probably why I like him. It was.
Yeah, that is why I like him.
All right, who's this other guy you're talking about?
All right, so somebody who I like to have a bounce back year, someone that you definitely would never draft and do not like.
Oh my God! Don't say it.
You already know what I'm gonna say. Kenny Galladay.
Oh man!
Who do you think I'm gonna say?
Yeah, I'm not a big Kenny Galladay fan. Ugh.
I like Kenny Galladay to have a bounce back year.
Well,
can't be any worse than last year. But no, honestly, like Godwin is my number one comeback, have a nice year, bounce back player candidate for sure. And someone I think is going to slump, who some people disagree with. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have a bit of a regression. He's going to slump a bit.
Actually, you've been kind of getting in my head about that lately, so I'm kind of starting to buy into that a little bit. Who else? I was talking to someone else recently, and they were saying that he didn't trust Vikings receivers because of Kirk Cousins.
That's part of it too, but yeah, I just think Justin Jefferson, he had such a good year because he wasn't the main guy. Let's not pretend like Thielen is some pushover. He's gonna be the main guy this year. He's gonna be the number one.
Who, Thielen?
Thielen was, but this year it's going to be Jefferson as the number one guy.
So you would skip on Jefferson when it's around that time?
I would skip on drafting him early. I'm not saying I wouldn't draft him, but I'm not drafting him as early as he's going because I think he's going to have a nice little slump.
All right. Well, he's going early. He's going 2 or 3. He's not.
Yeah, he's going pretty early. I mean, he's going pretty early for where I think he should go.
He's not getting out of the 3rd round. So if you don't want him there, you're probably not going to get him. Let's see. Who do I think is going to be on a slumpy year? Man, well, it doesn't really count because he didn't play in the NFL last year. He was still a rookie. He was still playing in college. I think Jamar Chase is going a little high because I think T. Higgins can actually have a pretty good year.
Yeah, I think Higgins is the main guy in that offense regardless.
Now, and don't forget about Tyler Boyd, who's a PPR machine. But with all that said, Jamar Chase, with his potential, can be like a stud receiver in the league eventually. Okay, but someone who can slump that has done well, and I don't think injuries necessarily count as a slump. Give me. kind of think Aaron Jones. That probably ties into why I like A.J. Dillon a lot, but I think Aaron Jones might slump a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That kind of goes into like why you're also not buying into him.
Yeah, I just skip on him. I tend to skip on Aaron Jones. Let me see if I'm looking at players right now, and
What about Kittle, man?
I was just looking at Kittle. I swear to God, I was just looking at tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, he was injured for most of last year, but I don't know, man. He could be replaced as that top 3 tight end.
He got injured for me last year in my 10-team league. It's tough to trust going with Kittle.
Tight ends are tough in general. Like if you're not getting those top tight ends, I already said this, but you might as well just wait.
He's a beast. He sure is a beast. I mean, like you were talking about, there's guys like Irv Smith Jr. We're sticking on tight ends that are supposed to, Irv Smith Jr. They're kind of hyping up. I think it's Adam Troutman, from the Saints.
Saints are good at developing tight ends. I will give them that. They're pretty good at developing tight ends and receivers, but they don't have Drew Brees anymore.
They don't have Drew Brees anymore.
They have Jameson, Taysom Hill, and they may be good athletes to an extent, but they're not Drew Brees.
Yeah, tight end's always a barren wasteland, and that's why you see someone like Kelsey going in the damn first or second round. Although I don't buy that.
Yeah, I'm not drafting him number 4.
No way. He's going number 4 or 5 in these both PPR and standard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're telling me I have the opportunity to draft Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, or Kelsey, I'm going one of those 2 over Kelsey. There's just more boom potential with them.
If you're going him 4, then that means you're not drafting Taylor. You're not drafting maybe Henry. You're not drafting
me. And I get these trends that these procrastinate or I can't even say it right. Prognosticators get into where they're like, oh, let's go with this guy this year. And everyone kind of jumps on that train, but I'm not jumping on that train. There's a lot of trains that I just don't jump on because I don't agree with them, and this is one of them I'm not jumping on.
Me too, man.
He's great. I'll draft him at the bottom of the first round, top of the second, but I am not drafting him top 4.
Me either. Let me see. Let me see if there's any more players here that I think might slump out this year. I'm a little. How do you feel about what's that?
How do you feel about Diggs?
Diggs, that's who I was just going to ask you, man. What about Stephon Diggs?
It's tricky.
He is tricky.
He's not going to get the same amount of receptions as last year.
No way. He blew up last year. You're drafting him. If you're drafting him based on last year, I feel like you're going to get disappointed somewhat.
You need more touchdowns from him.
Yes.
If he's going to have the same amount of points he had last year, you're going to need more touchdowns from him. Point blank, that's what it comes down to. And there's a good chance he's not getting you those touchdowns. He's like an elite possession receiver.
No, for sure. He's an elite possession receiver, and I think I talked to you about this. I got him in my standard league, and that didn't work well because he does not get the touchdowns. So PPR, he exploded. Standard, not so much. So
yeah, agreed. He's tough. He's tough to gauge. And I don't know if I'm drafting him high.
One of the last categories we have here is there's best fantasy player predictions. I think we've kind of gone over that. Fool's Gold is something that you wanted to get into, I like that. Last year I know you always talk about Josh Jacobs being Fool's Gold, and
he was Fool's Gold.
Yes,
because he had a bunch of games where he scored multiple touchdowns. His numbers were a bit skewed to look better than what he was. Not that he's a bad player, but I do think there was some skewing going on there.
Yeah, who else is Fool's Gold to you? Is Stephon Diggs Fool's Gold? He's Fool's Gold in standard. He's kind of Fool's Gold in standard.
I guess he's Fool's Gold to an extent. I think Amari Cooper is Fool's Gold.
Amari Cooper, I can see. Let me take a look at it. Let's take a look at his
because you have to factor in some stuff with the Cowboys. Like a lot of the times last year, they were playing from behind. They were playing catch-up, so they had to throw the ball. And then, I mean, you can say the same thing about CeeDee Lamb and Gallup as well, but I'm looking at Cooper because he is that number 1 receiver in Dallas. So I do think there's some fool's gold there because I don't think Dallas is going to be trailing the same way they were trailing last year. They should be better on defense this year. Zeke should be better, so the game should be a lot closer, which means there's a lot less points going around like it was last year. So you know what? That whole Cowboys receiving core is fool's gold going into this year. How about that?
Nice. Well, that's fair enough. I can see that. I don't know if I 100% agree on every single one, but it's fair. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Dallas. I think that someone that's kind of fool's gold is Miles Sanders.
You do not like Mr. Miles Sanders.
I'm not big on Miles Sanders. I think he's a little goofy sometimes. He drops the ball. I think he has great speed, and sometimes he can break a long one. But he's someone I'm skipping over Miles a lot this year. I mean, period.
Fair enough. I like Miles Sanders. If he's there, I am drafting him, which he should be there. I like him. I think, especially with the situation in Philadelphia, he's going to be the main guy. I like what he does. I'm going to draft him. I'm telling you right now.
Get him out of here. There's not a lot of other guys that I could think off the top of my head that are fool's gold.
Michael Thomas is fool's gold, but he won't get drafted. Shouldn't get drafted.
Yeah, I'm not a big We've already discussed it.
I just don't think he's going to even play at all this year.
Yeah, I'm not a Michael Thomas. He's going to end up being like one of these guys like that you hold on to because you're waiting for him, and he just –
Is AJ Green for you 2 years ago?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I didn't want to say it. I'm never picking. I was drunk that year, so I don't know why I picked him. That's why I picked him, because I was drunk. But I think that I think we've hit all our points here.
Big talking points, and then in a couple of weeks we will talk more about the season and what's in store and make some bold, careless predictions.
No, bold and well thought out predictions.
Somewhat careless. I got a couple of careless ones in there that I like.
Yeah, hold on. I'm giving you a wet willy. Yeah, I think that we're gonna get into moving forward. What we can do is we'll have probably what do you want to do, like a preseason show, or do you want to get into let's see here.
Yeah, we'll do a preseason show where we kind of just talk about predictions, expectations, and then we can do a full-on, this is what the NFL slate is looking like for this week. This is what we think is going to happen.
Yeah, I think what we'll do,
crazy because you don't really know if anything's going to pan out. You're just going based off of last year, what you think, so it's fun that way.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun that way. We can go into divisions. We can go into schedules. We'll get a little more into just the pure NFL of it, which obviously, spills into fantasy. So, yeah. We'll get into all of that stuff. It was fun for all of you that were joining us, which I think is Rob, if you're still out there and not asleep.
Hopefully we'll build up our fantasy base going forward.
Yeah, I'm looking at let me look at the I'm looking. Oh, why is it? Oh, here we go. I'm still watching the link right now. Yeah, someone gave us a thumbs up, but that might have been you.
It was not me.
Oh, maybe it was Rob. Yeah, one is watching, but that's probably me, so I don't think Rob's watching anymore. It looks good, though. I think we did good. Two are watching now. Rob might still be on. Cool.
Nice.
If it's not you, Rob, then sorry for whoever logged on. We're finishing up the show. And we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching the end around, and we'll be back in about, what is it? Did you say about a week, right?
Couple weeks.
We'll probably be back around the 30th or 31st to do our show that is our right before the season and right before our drafts. We'll come back and we will get into it. Then you can get used to our weekly shows as the season rolls along.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, Brodo.
See you later, homeboy.
All right, man. Peace.
Later.